as we have said, that there is enough information which is available, and a home buyer will not be able to make a case that I was never disclosed this information at the time of buying the flat, because all information is disclosed on the website now. So the duties of a promoter are defined, but also rights of a allottee are defined over and above what are the duties. So the first right of an allottee is to obtain information. So section 19 of RERA provides for the rights of allottees. So allottee has a right to ask for the sanction plan. The allottee has a right to demand legal title of the project. And at any stage, this information can be asked under the ambit of this act. The allottee has a right to know what is the completion schedule. So normally an agreement for sale, as the model agreement for sale stipulates, construction completion schedule and a construction link payment schedule has to be specified. The allottee has a right to claim possession. He cannot be denied possession. If the promoter has got his money and still he's not giving the possession, under this act, the allottee can approach the authority and seek possession and seek an order for possession of the flat. So they cannot be held at ransom. They also have a right to claim refund under section 18 and section 12, where the possession has not been given timely, or the possession has not been given as per the terms of the agreement, or if the sale has been made through a fraudulent advertisement or through misrepresentation, and right to have a document. The promoter has to get timely payment of the installments under the construction link plan for the promoter to complete the project. So if a businessman is making a project, he has to, the other party has to abide by the contract. And there is a certain construction link payment plan has been given. And if the promoter has delivered as per the agreement, then the money cannot be withheld. And therefore, under section 19(6) of RERA, it is provided that every home buyer who has entered into an agreement for sale for a property has the responsibility to make necessary payment within specified time, as mentioned in the agreement for sale, which includes various other charges. And therefore, the promoter can also drag a home buyer to court in case the home buyer refuses to make payment. And further, the promoter has the right to seek the authority's permission to cancel the flat. Now, occupancy certificate is defined term under RERA. Occupancy certificate, RERA says, is a certificate which is issued as per the local laws on completion of project with certain features, certain essentials like water, power, infrastructure, etc. Now, in Maharashtra, we see that there is a typical provision called part occupancy certificate. And there is also a provision for occupancy certificate. The difference between the two being that in one occupancy certificate, the entire work as per the development permission is complete. But in part occupancy certificate, a part of the work under the development permission remains. Now, this is a very tricky question of law, whether part OC would equal to an OC, and it is already being debated in courts, and it is up for interpretation. But if we look overall, it says that once a possession is up, if the project is completed, OC is issued, then physical possession has to be taken. It cannot be that promoter has to take care of flat for years together, even after completing the project, and because home buyers are unwilling to take possession. They're not interested in possession. Also, the home buyer has to participate in registration. Many a times, certain parties feel that they need not register to stay on stamp duty, etc. But now the law is very clear. Any party which refuses to register can be compelled, home buyer or promoter. The law for registration for promoter is under 13, section 13. Under 19, a home buyer has to come and register the project. Yeah, so as I said, that the right of promoters and home buyers have been balanced under this particular law. So, if a promoter is imparting his duties as per the contract, but and is constructing the project, but the home buyer fails to pay the construction linked payments, then there is a provision that the home buyer shall have to pay interest for any delay in such a payment. Traditionally, developers used to impose 24-36% interest rate. That is no more tenable. The law has clearly defined that the maximum interest rate which can be charged is 8% plus the marginal rate of lending, which comes to around 10.5%. SBI PLR was stated in the act, but I think lately that whole benchmark itself has changed. So that it comes to 10.5% or something. That is the maximum interest rate which can be levied. A question may arise that why would a home buyer not want to join an association? So sometimes we see there are matters in which a project is developed into phases, but there are certain common facilities, for example, clubhouses, etc. So none of the phases wants to take the responsibility of the expense of the clubhouse, which is a significant expense. And the option, and each of them is an individual society. So under this act now, from a regulatory point of view, a federation can be formed under the law, and every such association of buyers or buyer has to join that federation to take over the entire common areas of the project. So what RERA says is that any aggrieved person can file a complaint with the authority under section 31 of the act. The definition of person is given in RERA. And also the act says any aggrieved person who is an allottee or promoter or aggrieved under the project. So it cannot be that, my interpretation is that it cannot be a third party, suppose an NGO filing complaint against a project in RERA. That cannot be the case. It has to be parties related to the project, which is the promoter and the allottee, and a third party may be an investor or a landlord. Those are the parties which can file a case in RERA against each other. This is a special forum. Now, the authority, it's a special quasi-judicial body which has been constituted for speedy administration of justice. A time limit of 60 days has been put for completion of proceedings. But as we practically see, 60 days is not something which is possible. And if the authority cannot complete its proceeding within 60 days, it has to state the reasons why it has not been able to complete. But it is a great improvement over many other forums which were traditionally being employed. Because this is a special forum which has been established to look only into flat buyer and the promoter issues. The appellate body to authority is the appellate tribunal. In case of Maharashtra, it is MREAT, which is Maharashtra Appellate Tribunal. Different states have put different tribunals. Any person who is aggrieved by the order passed by authority can approach this tribunal. Uh, Now, this tribunal operates under Section 44 of the Act, and an additional requirement has been put on promoters in case they want to approach the tribunal against the order of an authority. In order to make this entire process effective, what the law says is that for a promoter to file an appeal, the promoter has to deposit at least 30% of the award of compensation, and the entire amount in case a refund has to be issued. This is a bar that has been set up. Otherwise, every matter shall go into appeal and it will become unending for that matter. And again, a limitation of 60 days has been put to decide the entire case and come up with the order or reasons. A second statutory appeal lies to High Court, but that is not on the facts of the matter. It lies only on question of law. So the process of adjudication in RERA is that you have to go to the authority. And authority, being the regulator in this case also, is quite powerful. It has quite a lot of tools to enforce justice.